The Central Bank of Sri Lanka states that Sri Lanka's gross domestic product is likely to record a growth of 7.2% in 2012, down from the earlier projection of 8%. The Central Bank has attributed this to an evolving scenario of rising energy costs, decline in credit flows, and lower import-related activity.
Last month, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka decided to increase its policy interest rates with the intention of controlling the higher-than-expected credit flow. The fuel and electricity rates were revised thereafter. The monetary policy review issued by the Central Bank today states that the economic growth rate that was announced in January is likely to see a decline. However, the Central Bank expects the recent policy measures to decelerate broad money growth during the course of 2012 towards the targeted level, thereby further easing future inflationary pressures. Therefore, the Monetary Board decided to maintain the bank's policy platform unchanged for the time being. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka rupee depreciated further against the US dollar today. The selling rate of the US dollar, which was 123.50 yesterday, increased to 124.50 today. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka decided recently not to intervene in the forex market and defend the rupee.
The My Wish Foundation convened a media briefing in Colombo yesterday to elaborate on the objectives of the foundation, which works towards the betterment of a special group of children.
The media briefing was held with the participation of multi-religious leaders and officials from the My Wish Foundation. The foundation, which was established in 2009, works towards fulfilling the hopes and wishes of terminally ill children. We want to make every child who leaves the world a happy child. A terminal illness need not necessarily be a cancer. It can even be a kidney problem. A child who is in a seriously ill condition can leave this world. That child belongs to us. Who do we help? We fulfill the wishes of children who are between 3 to 18 years.
This issue per se is close to my heart as well. I was brought up by my uncle, who was a very famous academic psychology lecturer in Sri Lanka, who made a name for himself, who passed away 2 years ago. He was healthy, very smart, good-looking individual, even at the age of 69. He passed away out of cancer. Doctors, for whatever reason, could not diagnose that he was suffering from cancer until he was left with just 6 months to say goodbye to this world.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Sports First on Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start off with a look at some cricket news. Sri Lanka Cricket has decided to bring back Vice-Captain Angelo Matthews, who is in Bangladesh for the Asia Cup, owing to a calf muscle injury.
Issuing a media release, Sri Lanka Cricket stated that fast bowler Shamin Deranga has been picked to replace the injured Angelo Matthews and will leave for Bangladesh tonight. Sri Lanka will take on Pakistan in an Asia Cup League match in Dhaka tomorrow.
In more news from the Asia Cup, India beat Sri Lanka by 50 runs in the second match of the Asia Cup in Mirpur yesterday. Former Sri Lanka cricket captain Arjuna Ranatunga joins us now for an in-depth analysis of the match.
Sri Lanka versus India. That's the second game in the Asia Cup. Sri Lanka won a very important toss, but surprisingly allowed India to bat first. It was a very good batting track, very placid batting track, more suitable for batting in the Asian subcontinent. After losing Tendulkar, they batted very sensibly. The two youngsters, Kohli and Gautam Gambhir, played very sensibly, pushed the singles, played really well till they got into real form. After they got into form, they started playing their shots, and ultimately they end up getting a 200 runs partnership. That's where any side can go up to about 280, 290, maybe 300 runs. Reina and the skipper played a very important innings. They started playing their shots. Overall, I thought the Sri Lankans didn't bowl too well. The length was not good enough, and overall the Sri Lankan fielding was not up to the same level. When Sri Lanka started, they needed a very important opening stand. But once again, they lost Dilshan very quickly. we saw from the past when Dilshan goes out early, chasing 280, 300 won't be that easy for the Sri Lankans. But Mahela Jayawardene and Sangakkara played very sensibly, but overall it was too big for the middle order batsman. You need a very experienced batsman to bat in the middle, especially when you are chasing something like 300. You need experience in the middle. We don't see that in the Sri Lankan batting line up today because Mahela Jayawardene prefer to open, Sangakkara prefer to bat number 3, Dilshan bats open. So it's a huge vacuum for the experience in the middle order. That's where Sri Lanka crumbled every time when they chase. It was so unfortunate. One of these batsmen should think of the team and maybe bat in the middle. And when you have someone like Taranga, yes, Taranga had 2 or 3 bad games. Now that he's among runs, why don't we think of opening with Taranga and maybe push Mahela Jayawardene into the middle? Because you need experienced batsmen to guide the team. That's what happened in the 1996. We had Roshan Mahanama, Hashan Tilakaratne, and I used to bat at number 5. We had a lot of experience in the middle. That's something they need to address because they put a lot of pressure on someone like Chandimal or Thirimanne. It's not very fair for these young cricketers. And even Taranga being an opening batsman, he played very sensibly in the last couple of games. But they need to address their strength. Overall, it was very good team effort by the Indians. They bowled well, they fielded well. But generally, we need to pull our socks before we play the next very important game.
On a lighter note, a reception was held at the British High Commission in Colombo last evening to mark the arrival of the England cricket team on their tour of Sri Lanka. The event was hosted by the British High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, John Rankin.
England, the current world #1 team in tests, are touring Sri Lanka for a test series after 4 years. 16 players led by Andrew Strauss have arrived in the island, and the squad consists of 8 batsmen, 6 bowlers and 2 all-rounders. The England team is set to play 2 3-day practice matches and 2 test matches. The first test is scheduled to be played on the 26th of March at the Galle International Cricket Stadium and the second test on the 3rd of April at the Pisara Oval.
Now England will kick off their tour of Sri Lanka with a 3-day practice match tomorrow. The Englishmen will take on Sri Lanka Cricket Presidents 11 at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium in Colombo.
England will play in 2 warm-up matches ahead of the Test series. The Sri Lanka Cricket Presidents 11 and the Sri Lanka Cricket Development 11, who will face England in 2 warm-up matches, held practice sessions today. Wicketkeeper Prasanna Jayawardene has been named captain of the Sri Lanka Cricket Presidents 11. Dimut Karunaratne has been named vice-captain. The second warm-up match will be played between England and Sri Lanka Cricket Development 11 on the 20th of this month. Tilna Kandambi has been named captain of the Sri Lanka Cricket Development 11. Chamara Silva will be his deputy. The first test match of the 2-match test series between Sri Lanka and England will be played on the 26th of this month at the Galle International Cricket Stadium.
Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight from Sports First. Back to the main news desk.
Thanks a lot, Nadeem, for that update.
Well, that brings to the end tonight's edition of Primetime News. Remember, you can always log on to www.newsfirst.lk for the very latest on the web. I'm Kumarini Rajakaruna.
And I'm Shayan Silva. Good night.